After you've balanced your entire image in the Primary End tab, you can now work with a specific area of color. The Secondaries tab provides you with all the tools you'll need to perform these localized corrections. Secondary color correction is very similar to primary color correction. In fact, the basic color correction tools are identical. The difference lies in how secondary color correction is applied to the image. Unlike a primary color correction, which is applied to the entire image, a secondary color correction can be isolated to a specific portion of the image. You'll notice at first glance that the Secondaries tab looks similar to the Primary End tab. The storage bin to the left works exactly the same as the one in the Primary End tab, although this time secondary looks are stored here. The Secondaries tab differs greatly when it comes to the lower group of controls. Color offers up to 8 secondaries within a given shot on the timeline. Click one of the 8 sub-tabs at the base of the Secondaries tab to view controls for that secondary. Each secondary must first be enabled by clicking the Enabled button at the top left of the tab. Once a secondary has been enabled, use the eyedropper tool at the top right-hand side of the interface. Clicking on the eyedropper allows you to choose a specific area of color in your image. Only colors whose hue, saturation, and lightness fall within the ranges you set on these controls will now be considered for secondary color correction. Next to the eyedropper are hue, saturation, and luminance sliders called HSL qualifiers. The sliders allow you to very precisely control the area of your image you're attempting to isolate. To adjust the sliders, simply click on the white line on either the left or right-hand side of the slider and then drag. You'll need to have the Preview tab selected in the user interface to see the isolating mask being built. You can also deselect any one of the HSL sliders if you so choose. You can also click and drag over the image. As you move the mouse pointer over more pixels, the HSL qualification will grow to include all pixels rolled over. And to eliminate the artifacts introduced by film grain and other noise within the image, increase the key blur. Below the HSL sliders are 6 color patches: red, green, blue, cyan, magenta, and yellow. These 6 colors allow you to easily select just those colors in your clip without having to use either the eyedropper or HSL slider tools. They work best when you can see these predominant colors in your clip. For the first color, hold down the Command key on the keyboard while you click on one of the 6 colors. You can also increase or add additional colors by clicking without holding down the Command key. Because secondary color correction involves isolation, it's possible to color correct the inside of the isolated region differently than the outside. The Inside-Outside pop-up menu is used to define which portion of the secondary is currently being worked on. Previews are used when setting up HSL qualifiers and vignettes. When the Preview tab is selected, the main display will also switch into preview mode. The right preview window shows the current mask. White areas will be affected by the inside color correction, while black areas will be affected by the outside color correction. Also, any active vignette will be displayed. Buttons to the right of the Previews tab allow you to choose between 3 different modes for the preview display. Choose between the final color-corrected image, a desaturated preview which shows only qualified areas of the image in color, and a matte-only preview. By selecting the Final Image option, you can see the color corrections you're performing and still see the qualified area displayed in the right-hand display of the Previews tab. Vignettes are shapes which can be used to further isolate a secondary. To enable a vignette, click on the Vignette checkbox. There are 3 settings within the shape pop-up for vignettes: square, circle, and user shape. There are also controls for angle, position, X center, Y center, softness, fall off, size, and aspect ratio. Finally, you have 2 reset buttons below the Basic and Advanced tabs. To reset the current secondary, click the Reset Secondary button. To reset all the secondaries you've enabled, click Reset all secondaries.